What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rethink Everything podcast. And you're getting a different variety of people over the course of these first several podcasts. And so these should be more familiar faces if you're familiar with our brand. But if you're not, let me quickly tell you who we are. My name is Kyle Draper. I'm the founder of Rethink Everything, and my name is on the front of a few of our books. But there's a more important person than me on this episode, and he's the guy next to me, my brother Mike Faraci, who he and we wrote the Rethink Everything You Know About Video for Business and Sales, the light blue book. And guys, we poured our heart and soul into this book. We believe it really should be the video Bible when it comes to all things video. If you're not leveraging video the way that you should, the way that you think you're capable of, this is the book for you. And so Mike, he is the CEO and founder of Red Button Media, and he has unbelievable stuff going on, which we will talk about. But before we talk about it, Mike, brother, welcome to the show.
What's happening, man? How are you?
Dude, I'm great.
It's been too long since we've done anything like this.
I know.
I feel like I've been having Kyle withdrawals.
And I've been having Mike
and I would
withdrawals.
argue that you are the less important person on the screen right now. So,
well, 100 that I am the less.
That's what you pointed
you
out.
Would I
would
that.
argue that.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
argue
yeah.
that.
No, well, we can argue that.
Yeah.
It's always fun to watch people fight about who's more humble.
That's true.
That's an interesting argument for people to have.
All right.
But
sorry to the 3 viewers that just left.
Shout out. Now come back. Come back. We're going to get back on point.
We're all done.
We wrote this book, and there's a couple chapters from me in the beginning, but you carried the load of this thing because so many people struggle with literally every aspect that exists inside of the video bubble. How to do it, who to do it for, what am I supposed to say, where am I supposed to look, what sort of gear do I need? Do I have to spend $84,000 to be able to do this well? And so those are all the questions that people ask in the world of video. And those are all my questions. I'm the fire you up, get you excited to do video guy, but you're actually the guy that teaches people how to do it every single day. And so where I wanted to start, and obviously you co-authored this book, so you don't even have to answer what I ask. You're allowed to just say whatever you want to say.
Oh, we're going to have some fun.
We're at the same level of leadership on this podcast episode. But I was thumbing through the book this morning preparing for this episode, and you come right out of the gates firing with, if you don't know who your audience is, you're absolutely wasting your time. And so walk people through, how do you coach? Because you coach around this, you help people create content for their companies. How do you help them dial in who they're supposed to speak to?
So that's the first step. Like when it comes to my whole ethos and my strategy, and like for context here, I didn't want this to be a book full of platitudes that tries to convince you to do a thing that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Like, I mean, you're great at that. You're the best at telling people the why you need to do this thing. I spent the vast majority of this book giving you the how. I wanted this to be kind of the blueprint, the step-by-step, because that's what nobody's out there giving. And I wanted people to have it in something that was easily digestible, super approachable. What are we selling this for? Like $18, $20, something like that. Yep. We're not trying to sell a $500 online course. We're not trying to get you to download our free ebook so we can sell you something more expensive later. Like, that's not what this is. I want to give the frameworks that I currently use for Red Button Media to serve our clients every single month. I built a business on this because it's proven, because it works. And the first place that we start with every single one of our clients is what I refer to as target viewer personas. Now, in marketing speak, a lot of people have heard ICP, stands for ideal client persona. But in a lot of the services-based industries that we serve, especially mortgage, real estate, things like that, you're not always trying to use your content to connect with a client. It could be a recruit because you're trying to grow your business and recruit people into your organization. It could be a referral partner. It could be the people that are in your closed loan pipeline that you've done business with in the past that you're just trying to stay in front of so they don't forget you. And they know that you exist. And the context in which you speak to every single one of these people is wildly different, which is why you need to know exactly who you're talking to before you flip on the camera and start recording a video. I use the kind of GPS analogy. I'm a Southern California boy. So, like,
Yeah.
if I'm in Orange County, if I want to go to the Pantages Theater, my wife and I have seen some shows there before. Beautiful place. If I just type in Los Angeles, California to my GPS and then start driving wherever it tells me to go, I'm not allowed to get upset when I don't land at the Pantages Theater
Yeah.
because my input was garbage. So what I get in return is going to reflect that. The same thing happens with your content. If you get yourself in the mindset of, in a dream world, this is the type of person that would see this piece of content and reach out to me. This is the dream referral source. I haven't been able to open the door of this office in forever. I just want to get in there so I can have a chance to show them what I'm all about. Or the ideal recruit that you want for your organization. As a salesperson, as a sales leader, are you looking to bolster your operations team, whatever it is, or your ideal client? Sure, we can get into that stuff too, but all clients look different. I'm a 20-year mortgage professional, so I just come to the mindset of you're going to need to speak to a first-time home buyer much differently than you speak to an experienced property investor that owns 20 properties already. Like, who do you really want to be serving here? And then get to know them intimately. So that way, when you flip on the camera, you can speak directly to that person because that's what's going to help you create content that actually resonates with them. And that's when familiarity, trust, and relationships are built.
Mike, because you walk people through this whole thing, well, everything we're talking about. What's the question that you ask your clients that kind of takes them back? Like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't even thought about that, but that helps them get clarity on who they're trying to speak to.
What problem do you solve for them? That's the one that usually sets people back. And that's the one that kind of took me back in my chair. Back in 2021, I had the pleasure of being a part of a startup accelerator with a fintech founder I was working for. He
Yeah.
invited me to be a part of that. And I learned a whole lot. It started on day one because the first question that they asked, and everybody had like a pile of sticky notes, and it was part of these exercises that we were doing. And the first question was, what do you sell? I know what we sell. I know what we offer. That's easy. I'm ripping
Yeah.
them off. Ripping them off. Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, this is good. This is awesome. Not learning anything new here. And he said, great. Take all those sticky notes, throw them in the trash. And I was like, but I just worked hard on these sticky notes. You know what I mean? And then they asked the follow-up question and they said, what does your customer buy from you? And that was the first time that I realized, whoa, those are two different answers. What we sell is not what our customers buy from us. And at the end of the day, no matter what business we're in, if we're selling a thing, if we're selling a product, a service, a thing, think of yourself as a consumer. As a consumer, the only time you make a purchase of a product or a service is because you have a problem you want solved. Groceries, we're hungry, need that problem solved. Gym membership, I'm out of shape, need that problem solved.
Yeah.
Hat, I hate my hair and this looks better. I need that problem solved. You know, like sweaters, hoodies, I'm cold. I need that problem solved. This is a solution to a problem. So the question that I get to ask my clients and the question that you should be asking yourselves is, once we know exactly who we want to be connecting with, what problems do you solve for them? Because if you just start spouting off about all the things you offer, it's never going to get any attention because hard truth, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you do. Nobody cares what you offer. We all have our own stuff going on, man. But they do care if they have a problem. And they definitely care if a trustworthy human being can solve that for them.
Absolutely.
And that's the process that we all need to start walking down before we ever, hit the red button and actually start recording video or writing content or doing audio based
Yeah.
content or like any sort of communication that you're doing with someone. If it's a one-to-one correspondence, it's a different thing. Feel that out on your own. You're a human, you know how to communicate with humans. But if we're publishing content for a mass audience, whether it's organic reach or you're running paid ads behind it, doesn't matter. If you're publishing content for a mass audience, you need to know who you're talking to and you need to know what
Yeah.
problem it's solving for
Yeah.
them. Because unless you have those two things, you're wasting your time or your money or both.
100%. I wanna ask you about a type of video that you and I do in our sleep.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's weird because I feel like most people overcomplicate the crap out of it, and
sure.
it's
Yeah.
it's educational content
Yes.
because it's content that's it's not naturally sexy. It's probably not going to go viral, but it's the absolute pillar of helping people understand how we solve the problems that they have. And so talk to the audience just for a minute about just the power of educational content and even if you want to pull
Sure.
back the curtain a little bit to what
Yeah.
you help founders, CEOs, C-level people do, which is dig deep into their bag of tricks of educational content.
Yeah, when it comes to educational content, it's again, it's all about the approach. If you just publish a series of content that's like definitions of terms, like that might be okay for search. That might get you going in the beginning, especially if you're not sure like what resides in your core. What is central to your business and your ethos. Like if you're not super familiar with that, start with like surface level education like that, the simple
Yeah.
stuff. But when I'm working with my clients, I like to pull out educational material from them of past situations. Education framed as storytelling. Because if you can frame your education as a story, then your story presents you as a fellow human who is fallible, as we all are. Like there's a lot of points that can be shared here between people, and it's going to help people trust you a little bit more
Yeah.
if you just tell stories about things that have already happened. The line of, messaging where you need to do this is never going to resonate as strongly as in the past, I've done this, or in the past, I saw someone do this, because that's pulling from a real experience that was successful.
Yeah.
And people can extrapolate that they need to do those things also. So you don't need to order them around. You don't need to tell them to do it. But when it comes to education, there's a lot of technical stuff and foundational knowledge that everybody has because they are professionals in what they do. They expert in what they do all day, every day. The people that they serve most likely do not. So their foundational level education is more valuable to their audience than they will ever imagine. A mortgage loan originator has known since day one and maybe even before that you don't need 20% down to buy a house. But to the general population, that can be a life-changing piece of information because there's such a lack of education out there about it. I'm talking about the stuff that you learned, the stuff that you implemented, the stuff that you built in day one, week one, month one of doing what you do for a living. Start there with your education And maybe instead of just telling people, hey, this is what this means, here's this piece of education, tell a little story about when you first learned that as a rookie, because that lets you get everything out and also be a trustworthy human who can relate to other people also. So I think education as storytelling is huge,
Huge.
and leaning on examples from the past, even if they don't make you look great, even if you made a mistake, even if it cost you or a customer or your business money. Those are the most valuable lessons. We all learn them, and a lot of people want to seem infallible online these days. So not a whole lot of people are willing to go out there and present their flaws
Sure.
and their mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
And not only is that refreshing because not many people are doing it, but it's an unfair competitive advantage if you do
Right.
it.
No
Yeah.
doubt. I think when I was a young pastor, I would lead teams of volunteers on Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, and there would always be, here's 3 to 4 things we need to tell you guys before church starts. And my boss would say, "Hey, just because you said that last week doesn't mean you don't need to say it again this week, because those people have been living in their homes, sleeping in their beds, going to their
Yeah.
offices, dealing with kids for 7 days, and then now they come back. And so for you to assume, well, but I told them that last week, they're not going to remember anything that you said last week." And I remember learning that in my 20s,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of what made me very naturally good at this
Mhm.
when I got into the video world, is because I understood that, man, people's lives are so busy and chaotic. And that was even back in the mid 2000s,
Mhm.
before Riverside was a platform to record
Sure.
podcasts on, and Instagram wasn't a thing yet, and TikTok didn't exist.
And that
And,
was it was pre-COVID when everybody started doing this and
yeah,
flooding the platforms with content, things like that. And the say it again approach is so valuable. One of the core pillars that I create for all of my clients, and the
yeah,
one that I that I really encourage everybody else to create as well, is called core content. It's like the 3, 4, 5 things that live at your core that are central to your business. The things that the answer to the question, if you could snap your fingers and everybody that meant something to you could know one specific thing, what would it be? Like, there's probably 2 or 3 things that come to mind. You have to talk about those things often. It's the same reason that when you go see your favorite band play live, you're gonna be upset if they don't play the hits. Even though it's boring to them, even though they've played it a million times, the hit, the song, the message, when you're talking about huge keynote speakers, you're looking at the Gary Vaynerchuks, the Tony Robbinses, like all these people, they get hired and paid insane amounts of money to give keynotes to these audiences when in essence they're saying the same thing that they said last week or last month or last year or whatever it is. The thing that they know is that just because they're delivering the message repeatedly doesn't mean the message is less valuable. The message is just as valuable, and now you have a different audience in front of you. And if you
so
don't
true.
say those things over and over again, then that new audience they don't get to learn that.
Well, and
And
the
that's doing them
video,
a disservice.
for sure. And the
Yeah.
video that didn't move the needle last month could be seen by that same person again later, and their season of life has changed. Something's come into the equation, something's increased the pain that's present. And now all of a sudden that video hits different than it did 6 weeks ago,
I just
even
think
two
about my
years
own
ago.
life. Like I could come across the same exact video tomorrow and it would hit completely different
Yeah,
because my 4-year-old son isn't bugging me to change the channel
right.
while
For
I'm
sure.
scrolling, or because the dog doesn't need to go get let out to go to the bathroom, or because my daughter doesn't need to be picked up from school in 15 minutes. I got to leave the house right now. It's just like the seasonality, the daily seasonality in people's attention is wild. So, like, your best stuff has to be done multiple times in perpetuity if you commit
That's
to
right.
this thing long term, because that gives the most people a chance to get the messaging that is most important to you for them to have. And giving people more chances just gives you more at bats,
That's right.
because eventually the timing's going to line up.
And we're gonna do the power of video can exist in one 20-minute episode on the Rethink Everything podcast. So we're going to
Agreed.
probably have to do a few different parts of these, but to keep these bite size, chunkable, digestible, we're trying to keep them at the 20-minute mark, which is where we are right now. And so, Mike, I want you to end this with two things. One, give a challenge to the audience. If they're not using video presently, what would be the thing that you would say for them to do first? And then give them a 60-second speech, commercial, whatever you want to call it, for what you and your team do at Red Button Media, because I think for the right listener, they need to be partnering with what you guys are already doing for them.
That's fair. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, first thing, I don't need 60 seconds. I'm going to give you like 2 sentences. Red Button Media provides custom content systems to founders, executives, and sales leaders.
Love
If
it.
you need to be more visible and you don't have the time to do it, reach out. Go to hittheredbutton.com. For a challenge, I'm going to, and I have adopted this from you actually. Um, I have found that this is the easiest and best way for somebody to make a meaningful difference in their business and get into and more comfortable with doing video. If everybody listening today can pick one text message that they were going to send, before you shoot it off, just pull up the camera app on your phone and say the exact same thing you were going to type into the camera, and then text that little video instead of the written words. Just
So
that
good.
is going to increase your style of communication. It's going to help you be more present. You're going to exist on a higher plane to the recipient. They're going to receive your message more effectively. Nothing's going to be left up to interpretation. You will build familiarity bias. And the most important thing, this can be our little secret, it doesn't take you any extra time,
That's right.
but to them, the perceived value is exponentially higher. And they're going to feel so special that you took the time to do that just for them.
Amen to that. That was great, bro.
All right.
Love you, man. Thanks for
Likewise,
coming on.
brother. Thank you.
Guys, before we let you go, I've got a big announcement. You are the first to hear that we are launching our Rethink Everything store. And so you can, as of now, go to rethinkeverythingstore.com and you can buy t-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, stickers, stationery, and more to come in the colors of your favorite Rethink Everything book or books. And so we're excited for you to rep the brand. Go check it out, and we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for watching or listening. We appreciate you.
Take care.